All right, so today we're going to talk about how being valuable solves literally all of your problems. Well, most of your problems. I've been on a journey, you could say even a crusade, a whoop-de-doo, something interesting, basically, over the past couple of years. And I've been focusing mostly on the fact that I want to become a more valuable individual in order to benefit the lives of the people around me, okay? Because what you need to understand, what is a lesson that I've understood quite early in my journey, is that the more valuable you become, the more money people are going to pay you with for your value. If you give value, people are going to pay you more money in order to get more access to that value, right? Or more time, or more energy, or more services, or more favors, okay? This is what you need to understand at a very core principle. I'm going to put the camera here because I think the lighting's a bit shit, but who cares? So, I sit here and I record videos every single day, roughly 20 minutes. That's roughly the same video, and I share a little bit of value, a little bit of a lesson, a little bit of understanding of my understanding of how the world works. And if that's something you're interested in, just feel free to stick around until the end. I'm making sure that these videos benefit you and you get some actionable steps, or even a small lesson that you can apply to your own life, okay? So what I've understood about reality is that at the end of the day, you've got two different types of things that are going to happen. Number one, you are going to be the person you are going to be no matter what you do, no matter anything. Let's say you don't do anything. Let's say you just cruise along and you float down the river. You're going to get to a point where you as an individual are going to be set upon a certain amount of value, okay? Your value is dictated by other people. And this doesn't matter if it's within the global market, the financial market. It doesn't matter if it's within the dating market. It doesn't matter if it's within your family dynamics, your family relationships. Everything, everywhere, your value is dictated by other people, okay? By the amount of energy you provide, by the amount of time and effort and good feeling, by the amount of value in terms of solving people's problems for them, etc., etc. And so by gauging more or less, putting more effort or putting less effort into something, into a relationship, into your value, into your appearance, literally anything. Let's say we take the example of the dating market. You've got your sexual marketplace value, right? Now your sexual marketplace value is composed of two things. It's composed of your physical appearance, your outward appearance, and your experience, like let's say your character value and your bedroom value. You've got these two different things, right? It's like a good example would be you get a corn star or porn star or whatever. She's a 10 out of 10 in terms of looks, in terms of physical appearance, in terms of outward appearance, outward value. She's a 10 out of 10. And she's a 10 out of 10 in the bedroom, but she's a 1 out of 10 in the character side because she has slept with so many people. Her peer bonding ability is basically null and void. So if you make up the full amount of value, the average in terms of combining a 1 with a 10, that gives her a 5 out of 10. There you go. So that's her sexual marketplace value. So you need to think for yourself, okay, what is my sexual marketplace value? Well, in that case, you combine everything. And if you're a man or a woman, these two things are going to be very different. Okay. So, and it is dictated by the other sex, right? It's like a woman is going to dictate what a man's sexual marketplace value is, because she's going to judge him based upon his value about like how he looks, how he takes care of himself, his appearance, his money, his status, his wealth, all of these things, right? She's going to judge him upon that. And both genders have a different way of valuing, of judging the other person's value, the other gender's value, okay? So this is a very inept concept that nobody actually talks that much about, but it is constantly at the back of our minds. It's like, okay, whenever I'm judging this person, I'm going through a list of things, right, etc., etc. And people might call these things standards, or might call these things this is what I demand out of the other person I'm going to be with, or whatnot, okay? And you can apply this same thing to business, right? Whenever somebody is looking through the marketplace, it's like, I'm looking for a plumber to fix my toilet, my leaky toilet. My toilet's been leaking for a bit. It's really shit. I have to put towels behind it and to make sure to soak up the water. And it feels like shit because it's stinky and I don't like it. So I'm gonna look for a plumber. Okay, type on Google, plumber near me. And then I go through the list of businesses. And I'm like, okay, which plumber am I going to choose and why? And then I go through the list and I'm like, okay, you've got this one's a bit this one's kind of okay, this one's pretty good, let's try this one. And so they go with this one because of the way they presented themselves, the way their past results show up, the way all of their business online has been set up, okay? And you can do the same thing whenever you go to the supermarket. You go to the supermarket and you want to buy some chicken, right? There's like maybe like 3, 4, 5 different brands that sell chicken. Why are you gonna buy chicken from one brand compared to the other brand? Well, you're gonna compare them, right? You're gonna say, okay, the price tag, the chicken itself, maybe you've already bought it before and you're like, okay, this chicken's pretty good, but this chicken's a bit shit. So I'm gonna buy the better chicken, even if it's an increase in price, right? That's what I'm talking about. So the value that people feel or that people dictate upon other things doesn't necessarily equal and the amount of value for the money itself, okay? Some people dictate the value of something based on its price. Let's say you have 2 different plumbers. One plumber's really shit, but he gets the job done really quickly and he's super fast, and but the job's not really well done. The other plumber takes a much longer time, but the job is done so well and so efficiently that you actually think that he is worth more money because he did the job much better. Even if it took a little bit longer, he did the job much better. That's the point. You've got quality and speed. Now, value is dictated by other people. Value is not dictated by yourself. You cannot say, hey, I'm a rich millionaire, billionaire, smart, whatnot. You know, that doesn't work. People need to see it and be like, this guy is insert XXX, YXYZ. So, at the end of the day, you can do a lot of things, but as soon as you become a more valuable individual, it allows you to solve so many more problems. People let you get away with more things when you provide more value. A good example would be a couple relationship. There's a man with a woman, so husband and wife. The husband goes out there, does all the hard work, and brings in the cash at the end of the day to provide for their lifestyle, right? And the woman stays at home and takes care of the house, cleans the house, does the food, the cooking, the cleaning, and takes care of the kids, right? Very, very black and white, binary roles, you could say. So the man, since he goes out there and he invests more time into making money so he can provide for the household, and the woman doesn't need to work, well, in that case, the woman will let the man spend less time with her because she knows his value is higher because he's bringing in the money. Since he's bringing in the money, she needs to be okay with him spending less time with her because he is bringing in more value in her eyes, because it allows her to stay at home and take care of the kids and not work a job. See, it's all about how she sees him, what the frame looks like, right? And so this can be applied to many, many different things. But the best example is dating. If you have more value in the eyes of the person you're dating, they will let you get away with more things. They will let you get away with treating them a little bit worse, spending less time with them, whatever, like insert any bad, like I don't recommend doing this, but I've seen time and time again rich dudes treating women like trash because they have a bunch of money and they want the money, so they value him more because his input is money. So since they really, 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 really want the money, they put a very high value on the money, and so they let him do whatever he wants. See? But the inverse is also applicable. If a woman's beauty is something a man really, 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 really wants and values very much, then in that case, she will make him do whatever she wants in exchange to give him access to that beauty, right? So in that case, it could look like a very rich man spends all of his money on this beautiful woman, 10 out of 10, and she allows him to have bedroom activities with him in exchange for a certain amount of value on his input, on his side, because he has a bunch of money. And so if he spends a bunch of money on her, then she's gonna be like, okay, I'll let him do whatever in the bedroom. In exchange, I get all this money. It's very transactional, but that's how value is dictated in the dating market. So you need to be the kind of guy that brings a lot of value to the table so you can dictate the equation. You can dictate what happens. Otherwise, you just end up not getting what you want. And you have to tolerate bad behavior. And you have to be the kind of person who compromises and who sacrifices his own desires to please other people. And I don't think anybody wants to truly do that. I personally don't. So I would rather be considered as either an equal or a superior in terms of value, so that I get to dictate the rules of the relationship, so that the people that are in a relationship with me, the women, then in that case, they see that I have more value to bring to the table, then in that case, they're okay spending less time with me, but they know that the time they're going to spend with me is more valuable because I bring a lot in the equation. Like, if my value as an individual is higher and I spend less time with this person, then I'm still going to get the same output as if somebody with a lower value invests a lot of time into the relationship and basically doesn't provide the same amount of value, but his time is valued less than my time. So I can spend more time focusing on increasing my value, and the other guy doesn't have that much value. So whenever he provides time to spend with his woman, then in that case she will want more time because it's valued less. And the inverse is the same for me. So like, let's say I spend pretty much like no time. Like, let's say I spend 30 minutes to 1 hour with her per couple days or so. She's still gonna value me as much as the guy who spends days and days and days with her, because his value is lower and my value is higher. Then in that case, she's okay with me spending less time with her because she understands that I have a lot to bring to the table. That's basically how the dating market works. So you need to be the kind of guy who becomes the most valuable individual you know you can. Because as soon as you do this, And it doesn't necessarily have to be in terms of money, in terms of financial wealth, okay? Financial value is good, okay? It allows you to do a lot of things. But you also need to have value in terms of your character, in terms of your standards, in terms of your personal morals and ethics. By having a very high value character in terms of personal character development, you are seen in the eyes of other people as having high value. Like, for instance, there was a tale of Diogenes, I think is his name, Diogenes the Cynic, and Alexander the Great. And Alexander the Great came to see Diogenes the Cynic, and he said, "Hey, I really want you to teach me all that you know. What should I be doing better?" Or something like that. He came to ask him for advice. And Diogenes the Cynic was laying down in the grass, watching the sun, and taking in the sunshine. And Alexander stood in front of him, so he was in front of the sun. He wasn't getting the sun anymore. And he told Alexander, "Get out of my way, you're blocking out the sun." He didn't give a shit. Even though Alexander was one of the greatest men of the time, the fact that Diogenes the Cynic didn't give a shit, because his personal character values he knew were higher, because he didn't care. He was a philosopher, and he had something that Alexander wanted. And so in his equation, Diogenes the Cynic had more value than Alexander, because Alexander wanted something that Diogenes the Cynic had. It's very simple. If you have something that somebody else wants, you have a higher amount of value in their eyes. But if you give it up too early, or if you give it up too much, or if you negate your value and you lower it in the eyes of the other person, then in that case, they will see that and they will feel that. And they will understand, oh, this guy just, whatever. It doesn't matter. This guy's not very high value. I don't really care. So, at the end of the day, being high value isn't about what you have acquired in terms of objects or in terms of financial wealth or objectification. It is also in terms of your character values, how have you improved yourself, your physique as well. It's everything that you are, from top to bottom, from what's in your head to what's outside physically. Like seeing what other, like for instance, a beautiful woman, her value, people will think is higher because she has something that is innate, that is something that a lot of men want. A lot of men want a beautiful woman. Then in that case, the value of a beautiful woman is going to be higher than the value of a average looking woman. It's dictated by other people. It's not dictated by the self. This is what's very, very important. And so what you need to do is you need to raise your value. This is what I've been doing over the past couple of years, actually. I've been raising my value in the eyes of other people by doing things. So I've been improving my skills. I've been attacking things. I've been doing client projects. I've been running my own business. I've been dressing better. Like for instance, by the simple fact of me dressing in a suit with this jacket, with this 3-piece suit, and taking better care of my appearance, my grooming, by taking a haircut, by getting a haircut, going to the gym, looking big and strong, or at least more confident in my own physical prowess. That in that case, people think to themselves, okay, this guy treats himself with higher respect than the average person here, then in that case, he must have a higher amount of value to provide to other people. So this guy must be a high value man. And it is dictated by other people. I do not say, hey, I'm a high value man, I'm a high value person, I'm a high value man, treat me like one. I go out there and I treat myself like a high value man. In that case, that makes other people treat me with high value the same way. It is completely dictated by other people. That's what you need to understand. Value is not dictated by you. Value is dictated by others. So you need to figure out a way to become more valuable, because it is going to allow you to solve so many problems in your own life. You're going to become more respected. You're going to become more financially wealthy. You're going to become more of the center of all the opportunities that come towards you. By raising your value, you get more opportunities and you live a more fulfilling life. That's what I wanted to talk about today. And that's pretty much it for the end of the video. So I appreciate every single one of you guys watching until the end. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if you enjoy these kinds of videos by sticking around for the next one tomorrow, as I post every single day. And with that said, it's a beautiful day, so it's time to get back to work. Thank you again. I can't thank you all enough for the support. And with that said, it's time to get back to work, and I will see you in the next one. See ya.